No one would deny humankind's great need for healing. All around us in this war-torn world, the evidence is clear for anyone willing to see it. On a grand scale, one sees wars, famine, disaster, and disease. On a small scale, the countless little hurts, psychological and physical, spiritual and emotional, that we know so well. Sickness and death, pain and sorrow, separation and loss are clearly part of our human condition. Of course, there are also periods of great love, joy, and peace, and some of us are fortunate enough to experience many of these. But even into the most fortunate lives, pain intrudes at times. Dissatisfaction with our lives, the limits of the body, and the inescapability of death have been central themes of the great religions. In the immensity of the universe, we seem as dust, say the ancient biblical Psalms. Psalm 90 states that our lives are but toil and trouble. They are soon gone. They come to an end like a sigh. And Psalm 89 asks, "What man can live and not see death?" In the Bhagavad Gita, the Hindu Bible, the wise are said to be those capable of seeing the defects in birth, death, old age, sickness, and suffering. Unenlightened existence is inherently unsatisfactory, states the Buddha's first noble truth. Recently, this sentiment has been echoed by contemporary existentialists who see anxiety, angst, and despair as inescapable elements of human life. But the great religions do not stop with merely recognizing the pain of our usual existence. They go further, to declare that we can escape the pain, and they offer us means for this escape. In fact, every great religion claims that our suffering is the product of ignorance and illusion. Suffering, they say, results when we forget who we really are, children of God, Atman, Buddha nature, or one with the Tao, and mistake ourselves for limited beings, skin-encapsulated egos trapped inside fragile, transitory bodies. We suffer ultimately, say the great religions, from a case of mistaken identity, a false self-concept, an erroneous image that is but a pale shadow of our true, limitless being. We live not in reality, but in illusion, Maya, or samsara. We have forgotten who we really are, and misperceive our nightmares of sickness and suffering for reality, while our true nature abides unchanged and unchangeable as pure, radiant Satchit Ananda, limitless consciousness, being, and bliss. From this viewpoint, the sickness and suffering that seem inescapable from our egocentric perspective are recognized as illusions, incapable of harming our true self in any way. All suffering is seen as but a dream. It follows that the healing of sickness and pain involves awakening from our collective dream and remembering who we really are. We need not seek to change our true nature, which is actually unchangeable. Rather, we need only recognize, remember, and awaken to it, and the nightmare of suffering ceases to exert its apparent effects on us. A Course in Miracles represents one form of this timeless wisdom, a path to enlightenment, a guide to awakening, a gift of healing. As such, it can be seen as a contemporary version of the perennial wisdom, that common core of wisdom at the heart of the great religions. The Course encourages us to exchange anger for forgiveness, fear for love, and curse for blessing. In short, it advises us to substitute peaceful, loving states for angry, painful ones. This is no small task. Countless people have devoted their lives to this aim and have found it to be a forbidding challenge. But A Course in Miracles claims to offer a gentle path in which this task of healing and awakening is made as easy as possible, demanding no sacrifice of any kind. For how could it be a sacrifice, asks the Course, to substitute the peace and joy of reality for the painful illusions of the ego? The Course's view of healing, then, is radically different from the usual views of the world. The world sees sickness and healing as originating in the body. The Course sees them as originating in the mind. Sickness is of the mind, it repeats again and again. It is the mind which is really in need of healing. The course was written through a process of inner dictation by Helen Schuckman with the assistance of her colleague William Thetford, both successful professors of medical psychology at Columbia University in New York. Helen began hearing an inner voice saying, "This is a course in miracles. Please take notes." Terrified that she was losing her mind, Helen resisted at first, but Bill finally convinced her to take down in shorthand the words she was hearing. Thus began a 6-year collaborative process of transcribing and typing Helen's dictation, and A Course in Miracles was born. It is our hope that the following passages will convey some of the beauty and benefits of the Course, and that they will offer to all who listen to them a gift of healing. The desire for healing. The health of our bodies and the state of our world reflect our desires and defenses, fantasies and fears. If we would be healed, we must relinquish these unhealthy motives and replace them with the desire for healing. We must also relinquish mental habits, such as anger, attack, and the sense of individual specialness that separate us from others. Indeed, this sense of separation is our sickness. The Course emphasizes that healing cannot be for ourselves alone, for in reality we are not alone and separate. We must help each other, and thus relationships become a central focus for healing. The Course says, "In your brother, you but see yourself." Our desire to find a better way therefore becomes a driving force for healing both ourselves and others. As we ourselves are healed, we provide an example for others. And as we desire to help and heal others, we ourselves are also healed. The result is that relationships become a temple of healing, in which healing is recognized as a collaborative venture that leads to the recognition of our underlying unity. The decision to heal. The decision to heal and to be healed is the first step toward recognizing what you truly want. Every attack is a step away from this, and every healing thought brings it closer. To be healed is to pursue one goal, because you have accepted only one, and want but one. Nothing is harmful or beneficent apart from what you wish. It is your wish that makes it what it is in its effects on you. There is no miracle you cannot have when you desire healing. But there is no miracle that can be given you unless you want it. Your function on earth is healing. As long as you believe you have other functions, so long will you need correction. For this belief is the destruction of peace. Healing will always stand aside when it would be seen as threat. The instant it is welcome, it is there. Where healing has been given, it will be received. You have been called, together with your brother, to the most holy function this world contains. It is the only one that has no limits and reaches out to every broken fragment of the sonship with healing and uniting comfort. This is offered you in your holy relationship. Accept it here, and you will give as you have accepted. Suffice it then that you have work to do to play your part. The ending must remain obscure to you until your part is done. It does not matter, for your part is still what all the rest depends on. The conditions of healing. Healing is the effect of minds that join, as sickness comes from minds that separate. If you are unwilling to perceive an appeal for help as what it is because you are unwilling to give help and receive it. To fail to recognize a call for help is to refuse to help. Would you maintain that you do not need it? Yet this is what you are maintaining when you refuse to recognize a brother's appeal, for only by answering his appeal can you be helped. Your interpretations of your brother's needs are your interpretations of yours. By giving help, you are asking for it. It may help someone to point out where he is heading, but the point is lost unless he is also helped to change his direction. The unhealed healer cannot do this for him, since he cannot do it for himself. The only meaningful contribution the healer can make is to present an example of one whose direction has been changed for him, and who no longer believes in nightmares of any kind. Healing perceives nothing in the healer that everyone else does not share with him. Healing sees no specialness at all. It does not come from pity, but from love. There is no sadness where a miracle has come to heal, and nothing more than just one instant of your love without attack is necessary that all this occur. In that one instant, you are healed, and in that single instant is all healing done. Healing reflects our joint will. This is obvious when you consider what healing is for. Healing is the way in which the separation is overcome. You have learned your need of healing. Would you bring anything else to the sonship, recognizing your need of healing for yourself? Accept the miracle of healing, and it will go forth because of what it is. It is its nature to extend itself the instant it is born, and it is born the instant it is offered and received. No one can ask another to be healed, but he can let himself be healed, and thus offer the other what he has received. Who can bestow upon another what he does not have, and who can share what he denies himself? If you wish only to be healed, you heal. Your single purpose makes this possible, but if you are afraid of healing, then it cannot come through you. The only thing that is required for a healing is lack of fear. The fearful are not healed and cannot heal. This does not mean the conflict must be gone forever from your mind to heal. For if it were, there were no need for healing then. But it does mean, if only for an instant, you love without attack. An instant is sufficient. Miracles wait not on time. The only way to heal is to be healed. Those who are healed become the instruments of healing. Healing one another. Healing is a collaborative venture. It is impossible that anyone be healed alone. In sickness, must he be apart and separate. But healing is his own decision to be one again, and to accept his self. Fail not your brothers, or you fail yourself. Look lovingly on them, that they may know that they are part of you, and you of them. From you can come their rest. From you can rise a world they will rejoice to look upon, and where their hearts are glad. In you there is a vision that extends to all of them and covers them in gentleness and light. Perhaps you will not recognize them all, nor realize how great your offering to all the world when you let healing come to you. Let yourself be healed that you may be forgiving, offering salvation to your brother and yourself. Your healing saves him pain as well as you, and you are healed because you wished him well. Your healing is the witness unto his, and cannot be apart from his at all. Spend but an instant in the glad acceptance of what is given you to give your brother, and learn with him what has been given both of you. And you will understand his safety is your own, and in his healing you are healed. When a brother behaves insanely, you can heal him only by perceiving the sanity in him. It is given you to show him, by your healing, that his guilt is but the fabric of a senseless dream. You have reached the end of an ancient journey, not realizing yet that it is over. You are still worn and tired, and the desert's dust still seems to cloud your eyes and keep you sightless. Yet he whom you welcomed has come to you, and would welcome you. He has waited long to give you this. Receive it now of him, for he would have you know him. Only a little wall of dust still stands between you. Blow on it lightly, and with happy laughter, and it will fall away, and walk into the garden love has prepared for both of you. Look upon your brother as yourself. Your relationship is now a temple of healing, a place where all the weary ones can come and rest. Use no relationship to hold you to the past, but with each one, each day be born again. A minute, even less, will be enough to free you from the past. Let us together follow in the way that truth points out to us, and let us be the leaders of our many brothers who are seeking for the way, but find it not. We go beyond the veil of fear, lighting each other's way. The holiness that leads us is within us, as is our home. The dream of sickness. In our collective dream, we take ourselves to be bodies, separate from God and from each other. The limits of the body, its sickness, suffering, and death, seem terrifyingly real and inescapable. We seem to be helpless victims of the body and world, able to enjoy fleeting pleasures for only a moment before they are snatched away again. Small wonder, then, that we live in so much fear. This fear, says the Course, is both cause and effect of our dreams. It is an illusion based not on present reality, but on an imagined future. Like all illusions, it is self-masking, hiding its unreality in the distortions of perception it induces. Only by looking carefully at all illusions can their distortions, unreality, and lack of power over us be recognized. To look carefully at our fears and illusions is therefore to see through them. Once we see clearly, separation is recognized as merely a faulty formulation of reality, with no effect at all. The body is seen as merely a symbol of what we thought we were, and the true function of both the world and the body is recognized as healing. The veil of illusion. What is healing but the removal of all that stands in the way of knowledge? How else can one dispel illusions except by looking at them directly without protecting them? Be not afraid, therefore, for what you will be looking at is the source of fear, and you are beginning to learn that fear is not real. All illusions are of fear, and they can be of nothing else. No illusions can attract the mind that has transcended them and left them far behind. How easily do idols go when they are still perceived but wanted not? How willingly the mind can let them go when it has understood that idols are nothing and nowhere and are purposeless. Forget not, then, that idols must keep hidden what you are, not from the mind of God, but from your own. There can be no order of difficulty in healing, merely because all sickness is illusion. Be you thankful that there is a place where truth and beauty wait for you. Go on to meet them gladly, and learn how much awaits you for the simple willingness to give up nothing, because it is nothing. There is no gap that separates the truth from dreams and from illusions. Truth has left no room for them in any place or time, for it fills every place and every time. Separation is sickness. The world you perceive is a world of separation. The separation is merely a faulty formulation of reality with no effect at all. Separation is no more than an illusion of despair. Replace your dream of separation with the fact of unity. For the separation is only the denial of union, and correctly interpreted, attests to your eternal knowledge that union is true. A sick person perceives himself as separate from God. Would you see him as separate from you? It is your task to heal the sense of separation that has made him sick. It is your function to recognize for him that what he believes about himself is not the truth. It is your forgiveness that must show him this. Healing is very simple. Sickness is not of the body, but of the mind. The acceptance of sickness as a decision of the mind, for a purpose for which it would use the body, is the basis of healing. And this is so for healing in all forms. A patient decides that this is so, and he recovers. If he decides against recovery, he will not be healed. Who is the physician? Only the mind of the patient himself. The outcome is what he decides that it is. Healing involves an understanding of what the illusion of sickness is for. Healing is impossible without this. You are afraid to know God's will because you believe it is not yours. This belief is your whole sickness and your whole fear. Every symptom of sickness and fear arises here because this is the belief that makes you want not to know. Believing this, you hide in darkness, denying that the light is in you. The acceptance of peace is the denial of illusion, and sickness is an illusion. We attend in silence and in joy. This is the day when healing comes to us. This is the day when separation ends and we remember who we really are. Limitations of the body. The body is the symbol of what you think you are. You have made of it a symbol for the limitations that you want your mind to have and see and keep. If you use the body for attack, it is harmful to you. If you use it only to reach the minds of those who believe they are bodies, and teach them through the body this is not so, you will understand the power of the mind that is in you. Sickness is anger taken out upon the body, so that it will suffer pain. You are not sick, and you cannot die. But you can confuse yourself with things that do. I am not a body. I am free. It is essential for your progress in this course that you accept today's idea and hold it very dear. Be not concerned that to the ego it is quite insane. The ego holds the body dear because it dwells in it and lives united with the home that it has made. It is part of the illusion that has sheltered it from being found illusory itself. The ego uses the body for attack, for pleasure, and for pride. The insanity of this perception makes it a fearful one indeed. The Holy Spirit sees the body only as a means of communication, and because communicating is sharing, it becomes communion. Regard bodies solely as a means of joining minds and uniting them with yours and mine. This interpretation of the body will change your mind entirely about its value. In the service of uniting, it becomes a beautiful lesson in communion, which has value until communion is. Healing is the result of using the body solely for communication. To see a body as anything except a means of communication is to limit your mind and to hurt yourself. You are not limited by the body, yet mind can be manifested through the body if it goes beyond it and does not interpret it as limitation. Whenever you see another as limited to or by the body, you are imposing this limit on yourself. Are you willing to accept this, when your whole purpose for learning should be to escape from limitations? Use it for truth, and you will see it truly. misuse it, and you will misunderstand it. Health is the result of relinquishing all attempts to use the body lovelessly. Help and healing are the normal expressions of a mind that is working through the body, but not in it. The mind can heal the body, but the body cannot heal the mind. When the body ceases to attract you, and when you place no value on it as a means of getting anything, then there will be no interference in communication, and your thoughts will be as free as God's. The world you see. This is an insane world, and do not underestimate the extent of its insanity. There is no area of your perception that it has not touched. Learn to look upon the world as a means of healing the separation. Be healed that you may heal. Your healing will extend and will be brought to problems that you thought were not your own. Healing replaces suffering. Who looks on one cannot perceive the other, for they cannot both be there. And what you see, the world will witness, and will witness too. Thus is your healing everything the world requires that it may be healed. You do not want the world. The only thing of value in it is whatever part of it you look upon with love. This gives it the only reality it will ever have. The resurrection of the world awaits your healing and your happiness. The world becomes a place of hope, because its only purpose is to be a place where hope of happiness can be fulfilled, and no one stands outside this hope. The purpose of the world is one which all must share, if hope be more than just a dream. Come to the holy instant and be healed, for nothing that is there received is left behind on your returning to the world. And being blessed, you will bring blessing. Life is given you to give the dying world. When I am healed, I am not healed alone, and I would share my healing with the world, that sickness may be banished from the mind of God's one Son, who is my only self. Today, I choose to see a world forgiven. Time and eternity. Healing in time is needed, for joy cannot establish its eternal reign where sorrow dwells. Accept only the function of healing in time, because that is what time is for. If you accept your function in the world of time as one of healing, you will emphasize only the aspect of time in which healing can occur. Healing cannot be accomplished in the past. It must be accomplished in the present to release the future. This interpretation ties the future to the present and extends the present rather than the past. Old ideas about time are very difficult to change, because everything you believe is rooted in time and depends on your not learning these new ideas about it. Yet that is precisely why you need new ideas about time. All of time is but the mad belief that what is over is still here and now. The one holy true thought one can hold about the past is that it is not here. To think about it at all is therefore to think about illusions. All healing is release from the past. There is no fantasy that does not contain the dream of retribution for the past. Would you act out the dream, or let it go? Everyone seen without the past thus brings you nearer to the end of time, by bringing healed and healing sight into the darkness and enabling the world to see. Delay does not matter in eternity, but it is tragic in time. You have elected to be in time rather than eternity, and therefore believe you are in time. While time lasts in your mind, there will be choices. Time itself is your choice. If you would remember eternity, you must look only on the eternal. Time and eternity cannot both be real, because they contradict each other. If you will accept only what is timeless as real, you will begin to understand eternity and make it yours. The reflections you accept into the mirror of your mind in time but bring eternity nearer or farther. But eternity itself is beyond all time. Reach out of time and touch it with the help of its reflection in you. Delay will hurt you now more than before, only because you realize it is delay and that escape from pain is really possible. If you are tempted to be dispirited by thinking how long it would take to change your mind so completely, ask yourself, how long is an instant? How long is an instant? As long as it takes to reestablish perfect sanity, perfect peace, and perfect love for everyone. The working out of all correction takes no time at all, yet the acceptance of the working out can seem to take forever. Now is the release from time. The only interval in which I can be saved from time is now, for in this instant has forgiveness come to set me free. Future loss is not your fear, but present joining is your dread. Who can feel desolation except now? A future cause as yet has no effects, and therefore must it be that if you fear, there is a present cause, and it is this that needs correction, not a future state. You are but asked to let the future go and place it in God's hands, and you will see by your experience that you have laid the past and present in His hands as well, because the past will punish you no more, and future dread will now be meaningless. Release the future, for the past is gone, and what is present, freed from its bequest of grief and misery, of pain and loss, becomes the instant in which time escapes the bondage of illusions, where it runs its pitiless, inevitable course. Then is each instant which was slave to time transformed into a holy instant, when the light that was kept hidden in God's Son is freed to bless the world. Now is He free, and all His glory shines upon a world made free with Him to share His holiness. Place then your future in the hands of God, for thus you call the memory of Him to come again, replacing all your thoughts of sin and evil with the truth of love. Think you the world could fail to gain thereby, and every living creature not respond with healed perception? Who entrusts himself to God has also placed the world within the hands to which He has Himself appealed for comfort and security. He lays aside the sick illusions of the world along with His, and offers peace to both. From fear to faith. Healing is a way of forgetting the sense of danger the ego has induced in you by not recognizing its existence in your brother. Fear is a symptom of your own deep sense of loss. If when you perceive it in others you learn to supply the loss, the basic cause of fear is removed. Thereby you teach yourself that fear does not exist in you. The means for removing it is in yourself, and you have demonstrated this by giving it. Fear cannot long be hidden by illusions, for it is part of them. It will escape and take another form, being the source of all illusions. You must remember, however, that the Course states, and repeatedly, that its purpose is the escape from fear. You too will laugh at your fears and replace them with peace, for fear lies not in reality, but in the minds of children who do not understand reality. It is only their lack of understanding that frightens them, and when they learn to perceive truly, they are not afraid. The more you look at fear, the less you see it, and the clearer what it conceals becomes. Very simply, then, you may believe you are afraid of nothingness, but you are really afraid of nothing. And in that awareness, you are healed. The fearful healer is a contradiction in terms. An individual may ask for physical healing because he is fearful of bodily harm. At the same time, if he were healed physically, the threat to his thought system might be considerably more fearful to him than its physical expression. In this case, he is not really asking for release from fear, but for the removal of a symptom that he himself selected. This request is therefore not for healing at all. Fear does not gladden, healing does. Fear always makes exceptions. Healing never does. Fear produces dissociation because it induces separation. Healing always produces harmony because it proceeds from integration. Give faith to one another, for faith and hope and mercy are yours to give. Into the hands that give, the gift is given. By faith, you offer the gift of freedom from the past. Realize that there is nothing faith cannot forgive. No error interferes with its calm sight. To have faith is to heal. All fear is past because its source is gone, and all its thoughts gone with it. Love remains the only present state. The causes of the dream. Our dream, says the Course, is a dream of attack and vengeance. We attack ourselves and one another for our imagined sins, while in reality our self remains untouched by such illusions. Yet because we take the dream to be reality, its effects seem equally real. Our imagined attacks create fear, guilt, and anger, which seem to justify further attack. Thus, a vicious cycle is set up, and the dream is perpetuated. Only by changing our minds, the source of both the cause and cure of the dream, can we hope to awaken. We must learn to shift our perception from a focus on mistakes, our own and those of others, to a focus on the underlying love and innocence that are our true nature. To the extent that we do this, we will realize that anger, attack, and guilt are unjustified, and our dream of vengeance will be recognized for the illusion that it is. Attack and blame. There is nothing to prevent you from recognizing all calls for help as exactly what they are, except your own imagined need to attack. It is only this that makes you willing to engage in endless battles with reality, in which you deny the reality of the need for healing by making it unreal. You would not do this except for your unwillingness to accept reality as it is. It is when judgment ceases that healing occurs. We are restored to sanity, in which we understand that anger is insane, attack is mad, and vengeance merely foolish fantasy. The response of holiness to any form of anger is always the same. There is no contradiction in what holiness calls forth. Its one response is healing. As blame is withdrawn from without, there is a strong tendency to harbor it within. It is difficult at first to realize that this is exactly the same thing, for there is no distinction between within and without. If your brothers are part of you and you blame them for your deprivation, you are blaming yourself. And you cannot blame yourself without blaming them. That is why blame must be undone, not seen elsewhere. Lay it to yourself, and you cannot know yourself, for only the ego blames at all. Self-blame is therefore ego identification, and as much an ego defense as blaming others. Come wholly without condemnation, for otherwise you will believe that the door is barred and you cannot enter. The door is not barred, and it is impossible that you cannot enter the place where God would have you be. Escape from guilt. Relieve the mind of the insane burden of guilt it carries so wearily, and healing is accomplished. You are only guilty in your guiltlessness, and only in your guiltlessness can you be happy. Guiltlessness is invulnerability. As long as you feel guilty, you are listening to the voice of the ego. When you maintain that you are guilty, but the source of your guilt lies in the past, you are not looking inward. The past is not in you. Your weird associations to it have no meaning in the present, yet you let them stand between you and your brothers, with whom you find no real relationships at all. No real relationship can rest on guilt. Who is there but wishes to be free of pain? He may not yet have learned how to exchange guilt for innocence, nor realize that only in this exchange can freedom from pain be his. Yet those who have failed to learn need teaching, not attack. The end of guilt is in your hands to give. Would you stop now to look for guilt in one another? You restore guiltlessness to whomever you see is guiltless. From everyone whom you accord release from guilt, you will inevitably learn your innocence. In the crystal cleanness of the release you give is your instantaneous escape from guilt. All salvation is escape from guilt. The power of perception. Do you not see that all your misery comes from the strange belief that you are powerless? Uncorrected error of any kind deceives you about the power that is in you to make correction. You see what you expect, and you expect what you invite. Your perception is the result of your invitation, coming to you as you sent for it. The value of deciding in advance what you want to happen is simply that you will perceive the situation as a means to make it happen. You will therefore make every effort to overlook what interferes with the accomplishment of your objective. Perception has a focus. It is this that gives consistency to what you see. Change but this focus, and what you behold will change accordingly. Your vision now will shift to give support to the intent which has replaced the one you held before. It is still up to you to choose to join with truth or with illusion. But remember that to choose one is to let the other go. Which one you choose, you will endow with beauty and reality, because the choice depends on which you value more. The spark of beauty or the veil of ugliness, the real world or the world of guilt and fear, truth or illusion, freedom or slavery. The power to heal the Son of God is given you because he must be one with you. You are responsible for how he sees himself, and reason tells you it is given you to change his whole mind, which is one with you, in just an instant. And any instant serves to bring complete correction of his errors and make him whole. The instant that you choose to let yourself be healed, in that same instant is his whole salvation seen as complete with yours. The miracle is a lesson in total perception. To heal, then, is to correct perception in your brother and yourself. The reestablishing of meaning in a chaotic thought system is the way to heal it. It is but your thoughts that bring you fear, and your deliverance depends on you. What I see reflects a process in my mind which starts with my idea of what I want. I can be hurt by nothing but my thoughts. We practice coming nearer to the light in us today. We take our wandering thoughts and gently bring them back to where they fall in line with all the thoughts we share with God. We will not let them stray. We let the light within our minds direct them to come home. I can elect to change all thoughts that hurt, and I would go beyond these words today and past all reservations and arrive at full acceptance of the truth in them.